Hey, you're listening to the wrong podcast. Topics today include fakers, fees, and fascists.
Wrong! What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you people? Wrong! You do have to tolerate it. It's my show.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm here to talk about politics, culture, religion, sports, and anything else you're not allowed to talk about in polite company. Issue number 1! Check, mate. So in baseball, as you know, I love baseball. I love baseball. In baseball this year, something big happened. Particularly someone big happened this year. His name's Aaron Judge, and he is a very large human being. He is the largest person to ever play baseball. I think he's like 6'7", 280 pounds. And that 280, it's all muscle. Huge person. He plays for the New York Yankees. He plays center field for them. And he hit 62 home runs this year. Now, what you need to know about 62 home runs is this. That's not the record. The actual record for number of home runs hit is 73. And that was hit by Barry Bonds. And you might think, well, 62, maybe that's the second most home runs ever hit. Nope, not the second most. Second most goes to Mark McGwire, who hit 70. Well, maybe it's the third most. Nope, not the third most. Fourth? Nope, not even the fourth. Fifth? It's got to be at least the fifth most. He's in the top 5 now, right? Nope, not the top 5. Sammy Sosa, he hit 63 and 64. Aaron Judge, I believe, maybe it is the top 5, but I think it's more like the top 6. He hit 62. What's significant about 62 is that Roger Maris was the home run king. For many, many years, he hit 61 home runs, and he was the king. Nobody had a bigger record or a greater record than 61. And people like to say that 61 is the real record, and that now 62 is the real record because Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, and Sammy Sosa were all using performance-enhancing drugs, and that made them bigger and stronger than they naturally would have been, and therefore they were cheaters and it doesn't count. And like I said, Aaron Judge is the largest human being who's ever played baseball. So I guess his ability is natural, but still, he's larger than any person has ever been, so it is easier for him to hit home runs. And, I've got to say, I think the record is 73. I hate that steroids enhanced Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire, or not steroids, but whatever they were using, that they were using something unnatural, and it's not cool. But they got away with it, and there were a lot of other players at the same time using the same exact things, including other pitchers. The pitchers who were, pitching against them. And I didn't mean to even talk this much about baseball. I just wanted to tell you what's happening in baseball, just to give you an intro into another cheating scandal that's rocking the sports world. And that is a cheating scandal in the world of chess. Now, as you can imagine, performing enhancing drugs are probably not something that's helping. I guess they could, like if you use an amphetamine, something to keep you awake and keep you vigorous, like extra dose of caffeine or something that helps you focus more, like Adderall or, other ADHD drugs. But it's nothing like that. Let me tell you what's happened. The world chess champion, he's a Norwegian, and his name is Magnus Carlsen. That's right, you came here to learn about the world chess champion.
Wrong!
And he lost a match to this young American, this 19-year-old American named Hans Niemann. And Magnus, he didn't take kindly to it. He did not like it one bit. And so the next time they played 2 moves. And all of these games, they're being played online. So you can actually watch them online. They're moving their pieces online. They're not together. Hans made 2 moves, and then Magnus resigned. And he just turned off his camera and he left the feed. And everybody's like, whoa, what's just happened? Like, why would he do this? Well, Magnus was making a point that he didn't think that the game was fair. And chess.com is like this leader in chess games or something. They decided to look into it. And Neiman immediately came out and he said, yes, I have cheated in the past, once when I was 12, and then I did it again, and it was really stupid of me to do it when I was 6. I was a child when I was 12, first off, so let's just clear that out. It was a childish mistake, and I did it as a child. I shouldn't have done it. Then when I was 16, I did it again. I was super foolish. I was trying to raise my ranks so that people would notice me on Twitch, which is the streaming platform where you can get paid to play games, and people watch you play, video games or chess or any number of other things. It says, yes, I was doing it when I was 12 and 16, but I don't do it now. I haven't done it. I'm not doing it. Well, chess.com looked into it, and they got back to Hans and said, we've found instances of 100 games that you've cheated on. And the way he was cheating, I presume, is that he's using some sort of electronic device that's analyzing the moves and giving him computer-generated recommendations for what the best next move is in these chess matches. And I don't know how they know that he's doing that. They're not revealing that, and probably they're not revealing that so nobody else gets an idea of how to do it or how they know he's doing it. But Hans does not play as well in person as he does online. And one thing that really tipped people off was that when he was 17, he rocketed up the world rankings in chess. And, you and I are like, oh, cool. Well, he's 17, he's young, and that makes sense that maybe he's gotten a little bit older or wiser, his brain's developed. And so now he's jumping up the chess rankings. And the chess people, they say, no, that's not the case. These people do make massive jumps, but 17 is way too old for that kind of jump. You make that kind of jump when you're 12 to 13 years old. I did not know that. And what you should know about when he was 17 was that's when COVID hit. That's when we were all in lockdown. So he's at home. All these matches are online. He's not playing anybody in person, and somehow he finds a way. And, maybe someday we'll find out how he's cheating and what they did to figure it out. But there's the controversy for you. Issue number 2. Trust me. Okay, as you know, this podcast is completely advertising free. There's no annoying ads or sponsorships. I'm not breaking in middle sentence to tell you about audible.com, who I just mentioned for free. But I wanted to give you some recommendations. My wife is like, there's certain things, there's 3 things in particular. She's like, you're like their best evangelist. Like, you tell everybody about these things. And it's about time I tell you about them. There's no reason I should hoard them for my in real life friends. You should know about them too. The first is, I'm going to save you $600 right now. Would you like to save $600 right now? I really should be getting paid for doing this, because that is a good pitch. You are paying too much for your mobile phone, for your mobile cell plan, I should say. You're paying too much for your phone too. Let me tell you my strategy for cell phones and cell phone plans, and I'm going to save you probably $1,000 right now if you just do the things I'm telling you to do. First, the next time you buy a new cell phone, do not buy it from the cell phone store. Don't do that. You're wasting money. And don't buy the newest, latest phone. Get one generation back. Don't be an early adopter. So if the iPhone 18 is out, you want to buy the iPhone 17. I personally buy Pixel phones. So if Pixel 7 comes out or it's about to come out, then I'm buying the Pixel 6. That right there is going to save you a ton of money. Second, go to eBay, find an open box phone. Don't buy a refurbished phone. Buy an open box phone. That means somebody just opened it and brought it right back. There's easy money for you. And many times these phones, they might have like a 1-year warranty on them or something like that. eBay will sell you a third-party warranty for these phones. So you're getting it for way less, and you pay like $40 for the warranty. And even with the additional money for the warranty, you're still saving a couple of $100. So never get your phone for free from the cell phone store. Never buy it from the cell phone store. If you get it for free from the cell phone store, they're locking you into an expensive plan. You are paying for that phone one way or another. Okay, here's how you can save $600 right now on your cell phone plan. I was using T-Mobile. We had 2 lines on T-Mobile, and we were paying about $40 a line that came with 2 gigabytes of data. There's this company called Mint Mobile. They use T-Mobile towers. So if you're on T-Mobile, your service is exactly the same. And right now, most of you, wherever you live, the difference between Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile is nothing. They're all, they're all working in your area. So you don't have drop calls in most of the places, unless you live in that patch of Nebraska where nobody has cell service. So you're going to have service that works at your house, most likely. 99.9% of you, no problem, switching over from whatever you're on to T-Mobile. And then if you're on T-Mobile, switching to Mint Mobile is the exact same service. But we went from paying $40 a line for 2 gigabytes of data to paying $15 a month for 4 gigabytes of data. If you have 2 lines and you're saving that much money, that's $600. There's no reason that you would not want to switch over and save $600, right? Well, if you go to, sorry, this is a little pluggish here, but it helps both of us. If you go to thewrongpodcast.com, this is episode 71, you'll find a link there where if you click that link, I get something and you get $15 off. That's pretty nice, right? You get a free month. No brainer. Do it. Mint Mobile. You can even try it. They'll send you a SIM card and a fake number where you can test it to make sure it works in your area. But I guarantee you it most likely works. Second thing, I tell everybody about this. I've been telling everybody about this for 10 years. Domino's Pizza is not the Domino's that you have in your mind from when you were in high school or college. About 10, 15 years ago, they changed everything. They changed their crust. They changed their sauce. They changed their cheese. They changed all their ingredients. It's the best pizza out there right now. The best delivery pizza out there. And, they've got like the $6 deal. You get 2 medium $6 pizzas. It's so good. I grew up thinking Pizza Hut was the best. I really did. Still in my heart, I have that instinctual gut feeling like, oh, maybe I should be paying more for pizza at Pizza Hut because it will be better. And it's not. Domino's is better than Pizza Hut, and it's better than Papa John's, and it's way better than Little Caesars. You're welcome. Go enjoy some pizza. Third thing, cable TV is a massive ripoff. Like, I have cable because that's the best way for me to get internet service, and I can't wait until 5G service is everywhere, and I can cut that cable cord, and I can use something that's as fast. But cable TV is a massive ripoff. You should not be getting your TV service from your cable company. Instead, go to youtube.tv. It's not youtube.com, it's youtube.tv. YouTube is selling cable service. It's exactly the same channels as your cable provider, but they have unlimited DVR. They record as many shows or as many movies as you want, and you get to keep them for, forever, and you don't fill up any space. They're like, hey, everybody wants to watch Little Mermaid. You just click, I want to record Little Mermaid, and they save it in one place, and everybody's watching it off the same recording. So they're like, hey, it's unlimited. So they're basically recording everything everybody watches. Sometimes there'll be a popular show that you want to get in on, and you miss the first 2 or 3 episodes. You just start recording it, and those previous episodes will automatically show up in your library. They're there for you, even though you didn't ask it to record them for you. It's so smart. It's so good. And you can watch it from anywhere. And you get I think 6 accounts that you can share with friends and family. And that's for $65 a month. Cable, at minimum, is probably like $85 a month, particularly if you're getting a video recording device, something to record your shows. It's a no-brainer. YouTube.tv. Again, go to episode 71 at thewrongpodcast.com. I'll have a link there for you. You can get $15 off your first month. So if you switch from cable and you get my $15 a month, you're saving like, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks right there. You're welcome. Remember, I want to know what's wrong with you.
What's wrong with you?
If you'd like to submit a question, topic, or tell me how I was wrong, you can email me at listen@thewrongpodcast.com or submit a comment at my website, thewrongpodcast.com. And help me spread the wrong message. If you like what you hear, share it with your friends. Issue number 3, fascism. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, President Joe Biden, he came out and he said that parts of the Republican Party were semi-fascist. And, this charge is nothing new. It's quite frequent that people on the left accuse people of the right of being fascist, just as people on the right accuse people on the left of being socialist or communist or Marxist. And, in my mind, the charge is a little hollow because the word is kind of a smear. What does that even mean? That somebody is a fascist or a semi-fascist? So I'm here to tell you, what exactly is a fascist? I read this thing by this guy, John Scotus, and also an academic named Umberto Eco. I'm kind of taking both of their ideas. And what they did is they studied the history of fascism. So they're not just saying, hey, whatever the Republicans are for, that's fascist. No, they went and looked at people who actually say they're fascist, specifically Nazi Germany, Mussolini's Italy, and the World War II Japanese government. They all declared that they were fascist. And they looked at their similarities and their differences, what was important to them, and they came up with these trends in fascism. And as I go through this, some of this is going to strike you as familiar. If you're interested or familiar with American politics, you're going to go, oh, come on, you're just saying that what Republicans want is fascist. And I'm really not. And I don't think the Republican Party is fascist. But some is going to sound familiar. And I just want to emphasize that this is information coming from people who studied the history of fascism. They're not intentionally saying, hey, this is what Republicans believe, and you know what, that's fascism. That Republicans are the definition of fascism. They're really not. That's not my purpose here. I'm just pointing out that some of these trends will sound familiar to you, and that's no good. Okay, the first thing is that fascism doesn't have a specific policy goal in mind. Communism, there's a specific idea that it's after. We're going to make sure that everybody is treated equally and that everybody's needs are met, regardless of what they do or what they provide for the society. Fascism doesn't have that kind of policy goal to it. It's kind of more of a style over substance politics. It's a way of delivering or claiming through government programs whatever it is that you happen to want. So Franco, Spain's dictator Franco, he said, hey, Spanish fascism doesn't look like Hitler's fascism. We have a Spanish version, they have a German version. And that is consistent throughout all of these instances of fascism in history. They're not after one thing politically. It's just how they go about getting whatever it is they all want. The first thing is that there's this ethno-nationalism myth that's at the heart of the politics. Hey, this is what it means to be German. This is what it means to be Italian or Japanese. And we used to be great when we were this way. And if we could just get back to being the kind of Germans that we used to be, or the kind of Japanese that we used to be, then our country will be great again. Our culture will be restored, we'll have wealth, and we'll have military power. Culturally, We are under siege, and our culture is in decline. We're not allowed to be the people that we were meant to be. And we need to restore that. And we need to get rid of whoever it is that's attacking us and preventing us from being our true selves. And because they have this idea, they want to reclaim the past and they want to purify the country. And most often, they want to purify the country of outsiders, racial outsiders. You know, they want to be isolationists. They don't want foreigners coming in. They don't want foreign ideas coming in. And if they're here, they need to be expunged. And if you happen to come from a foreign country, well, you better adopt our ways immediately and quickly and forego whatever culture and language or heritage that you brought with you. Now, they also have this idea that everything is zero sum. I've heard that term before and I still don't know where it originated from, but here's what zero sum means. It means if one person gains, one person loses. Someone's always winning, and that means someone's always losing. And since that's always happening, you want to be on the winning side, not the losing side. And you want to make sure that if you can make other people lose, that means you are winning. And I don't agree with this economically. Like, you know, if one person has something, that doesn't mean that they took it from another person. I think the economy and culture and beauty, those are all more like a balloon where they can increase. There can be more of them rather than a pie where there's a fixed amount that has to be divided up. But fascists, they believe in that pie idea where there's a fixed amount of power or money or cultural control, and it has to be divided up, and they want the whole thing. They don't want to give any to anybody else. Because if any's been taken from them, that means they have lost the whole thing too. In general, fascists are really bad capitalists. They don't trust the system of capitalism to work out in their advantage. They think that they need to control things. They need to stop free markets from happening because, if let's just say, for example, you're trading with China and you're sending money to China. Well, that means China's taking from you. And you don't want that. You want all your money to stay here. And the Japanese became isolationist. And they said, hey, our money needs to stay here. And the only way we can get more money is to invade these other countries like China or the Philippines or Malaysia or Thailand or Vietnam. And we take their wealth from them. That's the only way we're going to get more wealth, is to go to other places and take it from them. Well, the history of post-World War II Japan shows that that's not true at all. The Japanese and the Japanese economy grew far wealthier after they stopped that kind of behavior. When they embraced free market capitalism, it really worked out for them. They're wealthy now. In terms of leadership, the fascist leaders tend to be elitist. And they have this idea that they know what's happening. They can fix things. They really should be the ones on top. And they are not interested in democracy. They'll use democracy to gain power, but they don't believe in democracy. They want to get rid of it. They think that they've got the right ideas and what they want is the right thing and they should do it. And if democracy gets in the way of them being in power, then they want nothing to do with it. And, there's often this idea in populism that it's the elites that are doing this to us. And if we just got rid of the elites and we let the common man have his way, then everything would be okay. And the truth is, we are always ruled by elites. Always. Every system everywhere have elites. And it's just a question of who the elites are and how they got there and what kind of constraints we have on them. And, like Soviet Russia is a great example. It's supposed to be this egalitarian system where everybody's treated as an equal. And I think it was George Orwell who just said that some people are more equal than others. There's still this upper class that, has power and wants power and are getting the benefits of their power, even in a system that claims that there's egalitarianism and equality among all men, there's still that upper class. And that is the case in fascism as anywhere else. There is no getting rid of elites. It's just that in fascism, the people who are elite, they actually look down on the other people. They claim they're operating on their behalf, but they don't think that the common people really know what's best for them. And I guess that's true of all. That's the problem with elites of all kinds. And that can happen in any system. But fascists tend to be led by narcissistic leaders. They truly believe in their own power. They know that they're the best. And narcissism is ugly and destructive, and those aren't the kind of people you really want in power, but they love to be in power. And the thing about narcissists is they have no problem lying to the people they're serving. They have no problem secretly holding them in contempt. Now, I mentioned in communism, equity is the great goal. And in fascism, equity is the greatest enemy. It's the biggest threat to the system. Now, there's two terms, I've talked about this before, equity and equality. And a good way to think of this is equity is equal outcomes for everybody, and equality is equal opportunity for everyone. And fascists hate the idea of equity. They think, no, there's power and skill, and the people who have that power and skill, they deserve the best outcomes. And the lazy people, the people who refuse to work, the unintelligent, the stupid, they don't deserve to have these things. That will tear us down. And there is some truth in that skill deserves reward and hard work deserves reward. They're not completely wrong. And I would say the same of the communist system, that there is some truth in what they say, that sometimes people are given advantages that they don't deserve, and they don't deserve the fruits of their advantages. And we should spread out, those advantages to other people. There is truth in both of those opposite ideas, but communists embrace one virtue and fascists embrace the other, and both do it to the complete exclusion of both of the opposite virtue. They're not even opposite virtues, but they regard them as opposites and think that you have to embrace one or the other and not both. Fascists, they love power and masculinity. Often they have a cult of power and masculinity. Now, one element of every society that seems to hold a lot of power are the police and the military. And fascists love to use the police and the military. But they don't really love law and order. It's this weird dichotomy. They like order, I should say. They really like order, as long as they're the ones dictating the order. But they don't like law. Law kind of gets in their way of obtaining power. And the police and the military, they're super useful at gaining power. But if they try to hold anybody accountable to the law, no way. That's no good. Rather than law and order, fascists prefer authority and control. But they'll be happy to use the words law and order to get that authority and control. Now, within the system, there's this thing called let me back up. There's this thing called horseshoe theory, where one extreme turns out to be almost exactly the same as the other extreme. And they don't meet in the circle, like a circle. They don't meet each other, but they almost meet. And the outcome is so similar that they might as well be the same thing. And that is the case for fascism and communism. There's this totalitarianism that eventually controls everybody. And the difference between Hitler and Stalin is kind of hard to tell. Now, they have differences that they think are extremely important, but the way that they used people and controlled their countries and how people had to live under them turned out to be very, very similar. In fascism, everything is directed at that one singular idea, and the government is in charge of making that idea come to fruition. And every other enterprise in life, whether it's business or culture or architecture or education, everything's pointing to that same thing. Everybody is working together with that same idea in mind. So you're allowed to be a business owner. You're allowed to make a lot of money. By all means, make all the money in the world. But you need to be supporting our government policies and our leaders. And if you say anything that's opposed to what we want and who we are, then we're going to take it all away from you. You're not allowed to make money unless you support us. As you can imagine, if everybody's supposed to be focused on one idea, making sure one thing happens, disagreement is treasonous. There's no room for disagreement. You cannot say anything against the people in charge or against this idea that they're promoting. Everybody, everything, every thought has to be going in the same direction. Because of that, something called newspeak arises. And this is a term developed by George Orwell to describe how totalitarian regimes often will limit vocabulary, and they'll make it more ambiguous, and they'll make it more euphemistic. They'll just change common definitions and take away nuance from how you speak. This is often a way of telling who's in and who's out, because if you're willing to use the new words, you're not willing, that tells people that you're in the tribe or you're out of the tribe. It provides the government a way of culturally controlling people by telling them what kind of words are useful or not useful or should be used. A great example would be saying war is peace or freedom is slavery, or changing how you describe things. Instead of saying good or greater or best, you just use the word plus good or double plus good. Very common to find newspeak arising out of fascism. Simplified words that are often confusing and don't really do their best to describe the situation. Like I said, some of that is going to sound very familiar. And I do not think the Republican Party is fascist. I think that, like in all countries, there are parts of the right wing in every country, in every culture, that is very warm to these fascist ideas. They like them. They feel good to them. They want them. And for whatever reason, those ideas have become more popular and more easily embraced lately. I don't think that even the majority of the Republican Party feels this way. But the people who in the Republican Party who like it, the MAGA crowd, they would certainly like to embrace at least some of these ideas expressed by fascism. But I could be wrong. If you think I am, let me know, and let me know why. I had fun and I hope you did too. Bye-bye.